Yo, what's good? My Quick Crypto family and my Coin Factory family. We're back. We're back again with your Casper Crypto live stream. I apologize, this weekend was a very terrible weekend for me where I was not just unable to go live, but also unable to provide updates on the fact that I was not able to go live, and I can only apologize for that. But thankfully, again, we are back. I will try to be more consistent again. I just have a very busy schedule right now, which is unfortunate considering the market we're in right now. We are starting to see the space accelerate a lot more, while altcoins are still lagging behind. Your Bitcoin and your Ethereums are not starting to prepare for that next move up. Of course, today is not really doing that, and we'll break down exactly why in this stream at the very beginning of it, before we get into a whole massive plethora of Casper updates from the Fred Krueger FUD, you know, his outburst on Twitter recently, to smart contract updates being rolled out, even regarding Project Sparkle as well. Other sneak peek into stuff as well. Ultimately, we're seeing a lot more announcements come out. We still haven't heard any news from Uphold regarding their Casper 2.0 post. I did get sent a Uphold document about Casper from the end of 2024, courtesy of Block Vibe. Thank you very much for that, brother. Hopefully we hear the Casper 2.0 Uphold post at some point in the immediate short term. But that being said, we have got a lot to cover, and you know, my always optimistic stance, I do believe that, again, this cycle is on that cup of making that move to go up higher and higher. We can see right now Casper is currently valued at 8.82 cents or 81 cents, down roughly 3.74% on the daily time frame. It's not because Casper's bad. Casper has seemingly lost that 9 cents support level, which you look a little bit closer, you can see this is also an area of support, which, you know, Casper right now is trading around that 8.8 zone. It did dip earlier into it and it's now made a bit of a recovery as a result. But in the video that I posted about an hour ago now, if that, I posted a video an hour ago, and in that video I kind of broke down my perception of Casper right now, which is that we have seen time and time again that 8 cents is a critical level for Casper as well. As I draw out the trend line here, we can see on the number of occasions where Casper has consolidated for about a week or even 2 weeks at this zone, but underneath it, and the times that Casper also has found support there as of recently as well. So 8 cents is a very crucial point. So again, depending on the worst case scenario, we have to wait and see. I don't think Bitcoin and Ethereum will correct too heavily, but it does heavily depend on the week's announcements coming up. I think hopefully, and worst case, Casper will come back down to 8 cents and then form a double bottom here. And if it does, that would be a very big indicator that Casper should make that push back up and make another rally again. Going into September, which again, September does seem to be a lot more bullish. But we'll come full circle, we'll get into all of the posts explaining why the markets are down today. And for those who are, of course, unaware, which I'm sure you all are aware now, I have a VIP group. And in the VIP, we are all already perfectly aware as to why the market's down today. In fact, yesterday's executive roundtable, we did predict and explain and warn the community there about what was going to happen this week, and particularly today, how we're likely going to see some pullbacks today, and we have done as a result of that. So we are acting within the realm of our expectations, which is again the benefit of being part of the VIP. You could join for a week for free or for a month for free if you sign to BYDFI, and you can learn a lot more in there, including market analysis and preparing for how to capitalize in this market. Again, the links to join are down below in the description, or also on my YouTube homepage here as well. Highly recommend checking it out to keep up with what's happening in this space, and ultimately you'll understand and learn from there as well that the cycle is not over yet. We still have a lot more time, and altcoins are going to be laboured lackluster and stagnant for a little bit longer, but their rally is still on the horizon, and it will be much more explosive than people predict due to institutional capital. That being said, welcome back again to the stream, everybody. Hope you're having a great day so far, and I apologise for my absence, but we are here now and hopefully getting back into the full swing of things. Dimitar first, as always, Future Crypto Elite is here. As you know, brother, Casper will melt faces, no doubt about it. Indeed, it's our time soon enough, and we are seeing the adoption for Casper starting to grow more and more, which we'll get into those posts in a moment. Accounts like this with 500,000 followers now talking about Casper as well, which is reassuring. It's not the first time we've seen this, but as you're seeing more and more big accounts promote, talk about Casper. Remember again, I mean, maybe there is a third-party entity like the KF who's endorsing people to talk about it, but if not, which at least I don't believe they are, this is based on their own sentiment. 500,000 follower accounts and many more endorsing Casper is a good thing, bringing more adoption, and we're seeing the Google Trends also go up, which again we'll get to this full circle in a moment as well. And Bitcoin Max is again talking more about Casper, which is always good, despite it being fun or not, it's good stuff to see. Falco bro, welcome back again to the stream, man. You're doing very, very well, and you too, Kryptoni, here I am indeed. LP on the check-in, yo, brother, market is crappy, yes. Market is looking a little bit worse for wear. Bitcoin right now is at 116,348, down about 1%. It did come down a lot more earlier, which again, if you are part of the VIP, you would have heard C Crypto, our experienced trader in there, predict this to be a critical zone that it would likely find support at, and it did, and rebounded off that. Again, it could come down further later on this week based on the other developments I'll get into briefly in this stream. But it's doing bad today, but again, it's still, trading within this respected zone, which I still think is reassuring. For me, if Bitcoin goes below 112k, this zone here, then maybe we expect a bit more pandemonium, a bit more FUD, but right now Bitcoin is coming through a pullback, but for the most part it's still doing okay. And then Ethereum again, similarly, Ethereum came down to this level which we've seen before, around 4,200, and it's now come back to 4,369, and again Ethereum is making a bit of recovery. I do personally expect to see more retracements this week, and I'll get to explain a little bit as to why. I've already explained to my VIPs. I do expect to see more retracements this week, but I do think that going into September, you'll start to see the FUD dissipate and the momentum start coming back off the back of all the big announcements coming through in September, leading into October as well. Welcome back, the real PG. This ain't the Casper cycle. If you missed at 0.01 or didn't sell at 20 cents, pack it up for next cycle and get the bottom. Almost just spilled my drink. To address your point there, I do agree if you got in at 0.001, or similarly if you sold at 20 cents, or better still, you got in at 0.001 and then sold at 20 cents, you made a lot of gains and you made a lot of money and you're sitting comfy. So I don't disagree that would have been a much better play, but again, that's also hindsight, because no one could have predicted that is what you needed to do with the top, and also whether time to get in was, because a lot of people who got into Casper probably got in nearer this top stage when they first found out about Casper around here. Now, in regards to if the cycle ended for Casper, my personal belief is no, still. And I have a lot of reason to believe that, and that's because, again, you could look at many other projects in the prior cycles which similarly didn't move for a very, very long time, and it was when people least expected it that it started to rally up significantly. Casper is 2 weeks away, less than that now, from smart contracts. Now, that does not guarantee we're going to see a definitive explosive move to the upside, but it will bring in more FOMO, showcase some more use case. You're seeing Bitcoin maxis getting more involved into Casper, and they will likely test out these smart contracts. You'll likely see stablecoins come on quite quickly due to what we've heard from Johnny. If he's telling the truth, that is, you'll see Circle and Tether bridging over and then hopefully natively coming over in the not too distant future. And then also not too far off that, you've got Igra Labs losing their testnet, public testnet, which is going to be hopefully not too far off now, which they didn't make an announcement about that. And also their mainnet happening in Q4, which Q4 starts in October. So we're in August right now, mid to end of August, so we've got about a month and a bit, hopefully maybe 2 months. It depends on how well fleshed out and well tested this testnet is. They are currently doing an internal testnet. I imagine they want to have their public testnet alive for probably a month or two to fully flesh out all possible issues before they launch it onto the mainnet. Cashback have done their public testnet for about 3 months now, so it may even be longer. We have to wait and see, but they do plan to release it in Q4 at the very least. If they're going to be October or December, time will tell. But based on my sources, institutional and generic, that I do tend to show more so in these streams, I still think Casper's got more room to run this rally, and I do think that, again, I think we still have another all-time high for Casper this cycle at the very least. How high, again, that's up for you to determine right now, but you can do your research into other projects and just use it as kind of guideline to see what has historically happened with other projects as well. Your Solana, your AVAX, your Cardanos, your Ethereums, every project pretty much has had a very laboured, lackluster move until the very last few months of that cycle, where it went parabolic and dropped 15-20x in value. Casper is in no different in that regard. And there are many projects in this space that are similarly still struggling. Casper's down, 57%? 57% from all-time highs, and it's been over a year. It's been a long year. And equally, it's been a long time since that elusive November 2023 as well. But similarly, if you look at your other projects, your Algorand, your H-bars, your Tau, Suez, say like all the other major projects, they're still similarly down around the same amount, if not even more so. So it's not a case of Casper doing badly, it's a case of altcoins have really struggled because all the capital, because of institutional adoption and retail sentiment, has all gone into Bitcoin and more recently gone into Ethereum. They haven't looked into other assets right now because institutions are making them do so without their aping their capital into it. Once you get ETF filings for your XRP, your Solanas, your potential Suez, your potential H-bars, the list they have, there's a lot of filings that have been done already. Casper hasn't got one, but Casper I think will inevitably get one in the future. But once you get the ETF filings for the other altcoins, that will bring more capital to those altcoins, but also start to incentivize other investors to start exploring altcoins more so as well. That's one of the key catalysts we talk about in the VIP. So, and we do expect, based on a lot of institutional sentiment, that we're going to be seeing these ETFs happen this year. So that's the reason also why I'm not so worried, because ETFs will also be another key catalyst for altcoins. That's why I don't think Casper's remotely done this cycle. And I mean, of course, if you got in earlier, then of course you got in earlier, but you could, it's only so early you can get into Casper, right? Because at 0.001, did you know Casper's going to be the next best thing? Or going to be this innovative? No, not necessarily. Because sometimes it sounds too good to be true until it proves itself, which Casper has, in my belief, and it's still trying to, but has, in my belief, proved itself. You can see that if you look at Casper. You look at the addresses right now, you see the big transaction taking place right now, the speed at which it does it, and the cost in which it does it, is proof that it can, do as it was intended to do. Maxi's wallet here, this wallet that sent a total of only 500 Casper actually, so quite a small amount, but it took $53, so not a lot at all, but 0.45 seconds and cost 0.00002 Casper. Or if I get a better example, which I've showcased time and time again anyways, let's go to the wallet 2 here. Here, this gate transaction that happened, a total of 20 million Casper, so that's $1.8 million. Took 0.25 seconds, even quicker therefore, and cost 0.0072 Casper. A little bit more expensive, but still less than a cent. Casper has got proven use case, and it'll be proven more and more with gradual more adoption, which will come through with smart contracts. Again, 2 weeks off, and then Igra's one coming out, hopefully not too far off that either. So, in the tangent aside, to answer the point from RealPG, I understand your concerns, and maybe you're right. I personally believe we have more time. I think we've got a lot more time. I think we are still waiting for the market to push up, and as institutional sentiment suggests, based on my alpha resources that I post on my VRPs, there's even a potential the cycle extends into early 2026. We have to wait and see if that's the case or not. Next month will be a very critical indicator for that. If we get rate cuts next month, I actually think we may not extend that far. If we do get rate cuts, so if we do get rate cuts, I don't think we'll extend that far. If we don't get rate cuts, then I think the cycle could extend into 2026. I explained it why to my VIPs. If you want to find out more, keep ahead of the game, be more locked in. Again, that is where you've got to find out more. But I still give you enough alpha detailed content in these live streams anyways, because we have a lot to get into and there's a lot to look forward to in this space still. Before I get to more of the pleasantries and welcoming back, to explain what's going on right now, which I already, again, broke down to my VIPs, today was always going to be a very volatile day for crypto, because today Trump was going to be meeting with Zelensky in DC in the Oval Office, and to kind of help flesh out and finish this ongoing long war between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, when Putin met with Trump brought out the red carpet, and by and large, everyone's perception of that meeting was a nothing burger. In fact, it was probably a disaster more than anything as well. So, as a result, therefore, Russia and Trump didn't really help in negotiations with Russia and Ukraine at all that time round. And people were optimistic that, because Zelensky was saying he wants to end the war, people were optimistic that Ukraine would come to a decision and form some form some form of peace negotiations with Trump to say they're going to end the war with Russia. But as we can see in the update here, Zelensky says it would be impossible to give up territory to Russia. So Zelensky's saying, we want a peace deal, but they're not forcing their way to take land that was ours, which has been what this whole war's really been about the whole time, Russia trying to take this land. So Zelensky's still standing strong on that, and as a result of that, geopolitical tensions, and again, the peace not coming through, this has caused the market to correct because war's bad. And people were expecting and hope that Trump would be able to end this war like he said he would. It's not Trump's fault. I'm not trying to say it's Trump's fault, but I'm trying to depict and bring the understanding to you as the investor that when you're in a higher position like Trump is, and Trump says he's going to end the war, and it's not ending, not necessarily because it's his fault, but that's not going to do well for the investment markets. And that's why the markets are correcting today, because geopolitical tensions are rising, the war's still ongoing, and nothing's been resolved at all. There's no peace right now, despite what Trump's seemingly saying. There seems to be no signs of it right now, which is not good. And then, of course, you've got the macro trends that are also looming as well, which I've already linked this website to people in my community. This is called Forex Factory, Forex Factory, forexfactory.com, which basically is what most traders tend to use when they're trying to look at the macro trends, the economic data. And me and my VIPs again know what we're looking out for this week. Predominantly it is the FOMC minutes, so what the Fed, the members are going to be speaking about regards to the economic data. The other economic data coming out on the Thursday, and then equally Jerome Powell, who'll be speaking on the Friday. So right now the markets are a bit bearish from the lack of news today and the kind of negative sentiment or the lackluster sentiment for the geopolitical stuff, and then equally from the incoming macro data that people do expect right now to be more hawkish after the recent PPI data inflation report. People expect that Jerome Powell and the Fed will be more hawkish, which is not good. Hence, when the markets are currently dumping, watch what happens on monitor. That was a weird blackout. But expecting the market therefore to probably start dumping. It may be a case that they're also trying to price in this market sentiment already. So you might see that when Wednesday, Thursday, Friday does come around, and if the news ends up being kind of neutral or even more dovish, the market might start rallying significantly. But if it's hawkish, you'll see a bit of a correction, but it's already being priced in. People right now are not expecting anything big this week. That's why the markets are correcting, not because Casper's bad, not because crypto's bull run is over, because the macro trends are weighing in on the market. We still have more to go, and again, my institutional documents, my alpha resources that I'll start occasionally posting some on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter @ is in the description, also here as well. You'll see me post some of them in there, and you can get a little bit of an inkling to what we talk about in there, so you can again see if you want to learn more yourself, and we'll provide some information in there on Twitter where you can see what we talk about in there, and ultimately why market conviction stays strong, because institutional sentiment, and remember we're in an institutional driven cycle right now, they still believe that this cycle has more room to go, maybe even longer than we expect. The fact that BitMine, which is Tom Lee's company now, holds now 1.5 million Ethereum, which is $6.4 billion, is a very, very big deal. Also showcasing more conviction into the altcoin sector, namely Ethereum right now. It will soon expand into your other big blue chips, and then your other altcoins, mid caps and whatnot. It's now becoming the world's largest Ethereum treasury, and you'll see more and more treasuries formed, XRP, Solana, and so on and so forth. The United States government, they're currently trying to form a national stockpile with Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana. I think also maybe some Dogecoin. But you're seeing these treasuries being formed, also a big catalyst as well for the crypto market. And another reason why the markets are also coming back today again, because the SEC has delayed the Truth Spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. It's just, we want the SEC to start passing the ETF finance to bring more institutional adoption to send the markets higher. If they're delaying them, again, it's not great for investor sentiment, but this is more so short-term noise. It's important to note, and that's also why we are locked in. That's why we're not panicking, because we know what's coming. We're not being emotional, we're being logical. This caused short-term pullbacks, but the long-term plan hasn't changed. If anything, it's just giving us more time for when the catalysts do end up happening, the explosion will be more volatile, and we've been able to scoop up more crypto while it is cheaper. Casper right now, according to CMC, has got 73 million 24-hour trading volume at $2.34 billion market cap. Volume again, Gate at 22.5, Maxi 11.5, Bybit at 10.6%, BitGet at 6.3. Volume still lackluster. We highlighted to showcase what's happening right now. It's currently up 60% in the last 24 hours, but we need to see more volume. And I do believe you'll see a lot more volume on the back of smart contract launching. And in particular, if and hopefully when, but in my belief it is when, the big exchanges, the Binances and stuff actually take action to list Casper. That will come probably later in the cycle. I'm expecting Binance. I'm hopeful for OKX. I'm not really expecting Coinbase, truth be told, but if they get it, then fantastic. You know, if USDC launches on Casper natively, that could be an incentive for Coinbase as well, because they are quite closely related. So that's currently the sentiment for the macro side of things, and then we've gone to Casper. We'll get into Casper content in just a minute. Before I do, let me quickly ask some questions from the community right now. Dennis, brother, welcome back, my man. Bought some more Casper today. Love to hear it, bro. Keep stacking that bag, indeed. How do we get Bitcoin maxis onto a podcast with Jonathan Sompolinsky so he can educate these people? There is meant to be a podcast with Sompolinsky and a relatively big account that has interviews on Bitcoin maxis, I think in the next 2 weeks or so. I can't remember the name. It is available in my Discord server, so I'll try and find that source and repost it on my Twitter account. End of the day, right, Sompolinsky, he has interviews out there already explaining, you know, like in 2015. He spoke at the Bitcoin conference in 2015 explaining architecture. They don't listen to him. He spoke about Dag Knight on podcasts. End of the day, if you don't, you can take a horse to a well, you can't force it to drink. Sompolinsky could give nothing but facts and his credentials and everything to a Bitcoin maxi, to someone like Fred Krueger. If he does not want to believe it, he won't believe it. It's only once he's been proven wrong undisputedly that he will be forced to change perspective, but he won't change it otherwise. We were already at the bottom at 0.055. Yep, I believe that's the case as well here, around here. So I don't think, I mean, again, anything's possible. If we get a, God forbid, touch with a black swan event of massive catastrophe, like an actual outbreak of world war, then yes, capital goes lower. I think everything goes lower. But if we don't get that, which I don't think we will, I pray we don't, then I think the absolute bottom for Casper has already been formed down here. And that was the next bottom here. So if we do see Casper go lower, worst case I say it'll probably come down in regards to this trend line here. But we shouldn't be going below this zone again, which is now around 6 cents. And then equally Casper again, support will be found probably around 8 cents if it does come lower. Otherwise it will start making that push again soon enough as well. We're heading back likely. I truly want to believe we see it all somehow again, but I don't know. I know I get the sentiment, real PG. I really, really do. Like, it's hard to have conviction in times like this. I do believe that is very, very hard. That's also why I apologize for not being as frequent in my content uploading, because I have been unfortunately really busy recently. Because I understand that part of the reason why people come tune into my channel is because I don't give you unnecessary FOMO. I give you sources and my belief, and that sentiment from someone can equally be enough to help incentivize your own conviction. I don't say it to lie to people. I'm not using anybody's excellent liquidity. I'm also down on my Casper. My average Casper is around 13-12 cents. I'm down on it. But I'm not worried about it because, again, the information I provide in these streams gives me conviction. And equally, the information I provide in my VIPs gives me 10 times more conviction because I know from institutional sentiment and other sources what's coming to the space. I think this week may come back down a little bit more. I agree. Based on the information I've already covered and what I explained to my VIPs, we might see more questions this week. But I'm hopeful that going into September and more or less continuing on from then, provided that everything starts, aligning macro geopolitical sources and SEC filings and whatnot, you'll start seeing momentum come back again and crypto will go through a volatile rally. We will end up coming back. You've got some very, very big regulatory frameworks about to come through that will bring so much more adoption to the space. So we will come back. 1 year of cope, maybe future. Maybe you can see it that way as 1 year of cope. It has been a long year. It's been an interesting year. I don't regret a single moment of it. And I count myself lucky to be able to lower my average Casper to even now at 12 cents. I do believe that I'm in a very unique project, and I'm buying in my time. I'm waiting. End of the day, as all I can do right now, all I can do is just wait and see. But I do believe that Casper's going to surprise a lot of people, and the people who end up hating on Casper, while justified right now, once the price ends up reflecting its true potential, that thought will dissipate very quickly. And all I'll say at that point is, that's why I have conviction. It won't be a case of me saying, I told you so, because that's not how I am. I like to remain humble. I'll just simply say, for me, when Casper does surpass all-time highs and then some, this is why you do research. This is why you got to know what you hold. Do you know how long Bitcoin was down? Or how long these other projects have been down from their all-time highs for so long? The only assets right now that are actually performing well is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and to an extent XRP. Those are the only 3 assets right now that are actually doing well. Everything else is lackluster. Casper is just along for the ride. So it's not anything to be concerned about. And again, institutional sentiment, we have to understand we're in an institutionally driven bull cycle. What institutions want to do is what will happen. BlackRock owns 5% of Bitcoin. It's ridiculous. What they want to happen will happen. BlackRock also know of Casper thanks to Marathon Digital Holdings. They're the largest shareholder of Marathon, and Marathon are mining Casper. They have about 30. Let me load up the website for it. They have about 30 odd million, I think. 30 odd, 40 million Casper right now. If I go to the PDF and I do Control F to Casper, when I type it incorrectly. Yeah, you can see here, look, Marathon, right? You got Casper as of the 31st of December, so end of last year, they had 34.8 million Casper holdings. They now removed the name from their balance sheet. They're still Casper though, because they don't want anything else besides Casper, but they've called it other digital assets. And then now, this was 5,624, now they have 5,836. They are seemingly holding more Casper now than they were at the end of last year. And that again, Marathon can't do anything without their shareholders say so. So Marathon are doing what the likes of their BlackRock shareholders and their Vanguard shareholders and their State Street shareholders have wanted to do. So once more again, Casper wild down, and yes, 1 year of COVID, it's been a bad time for price action, but the conviction hasn't changed. If anything, the conviction for Casper for me has got stronger. I've been able to accumulate more while it's cheaper, and I believe it's only going to take off more so with all these big developments coming through like smart contracts, and the fact, as I made in my video earlier, that Bitcoin maxis are now starting to talk more about Casper. Fudding it. But, as Mahatma Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they hate you. Oh no, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. They ignore Casper at first. Then they started laughing at Casper. How can it be the next Bitcoin? You guys are ridiculous. Haha. Now they're fighting us. They're getting angry about Casper. Bitcoin Max is blocking Casper accounts because they don't want to hear us. Because they can't actually hold a reasonable, logical conversation with a Casper Maxi because all we talk about is facts and technology, and they argue, oh, it's just bad price action. And they have no credibility to what they're saying. So they get angry. They're fighting us. In the rule of law, and again, as Mahatma Gandhi, who's, very well known when he said, yes, you go from ignoring to laughing to hating to then losing. The project wins, Casper wins. So we're in that penultimate stage now. So with that being said, before we get to more of the pleasantries, welcome back DD Bro and YouTube Lau. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing very, very well. Let's get into some of the content of Casper right now. So I did cover this initial segment in the video I posted about an hour ago. Krueger. Now somehow, by I guess God's grace, or maybe I'm not doing enough work, I've not been blocked by Fred. Now maybe it's about time I do, but I'm not being blocked by him. I've not really ever tried to interact or message on any of these posts, but I'm not being blocked by Fred, is what it is. But he made a live stream on the Saturday. The stupidity and grift that is Casper. He dedicated a whole Saturday, or a portion of the Saturday, his weekend, to trying to FUD Casper, which I think is honestly hilarious. 4,400 views. As you look at the stream we just did right now, 2.2k. It did just go live 3 hours ago, but you seemingly had a lot more people in this one from 2 days ago. 25 minutes just trying to downplay Casper. And if you listen to the stream, which I could listen to it, I choose not to because I don't care for Fred, respectfully. He just downplays Casper, calling people who are joining in like Casper Goo, who's requesting to speak, they're calling them bots. Like, they're literally confused why there's so many people talking about Casper, therefore they have to be bots, because that's how the mass works for them. Fred Krueger is a notorious Bitcoin maxi. 174,000 followers. It's not a small number. Not a small number at all. And it's not the first time he has hated Casper. he's thrown hate our way. If you go to my channel and type in Krueger, you can see the videos that I posted about him happening last year. He's done it on a number of occasions. It's just come back again. And I believe that this is purely engagement farming, but he is throwing hate Casper's way. And I honestly thank him for it, considering that we are now, again, only 2 weeks away from smart contracts. 2 weeks to showcase real use case and adoption. At least the early stages of it. And then it'll build up more dApps and more DEXs being built alongside what's happening with Igra as well. And equally with Sparkle, we've got updates about that as well. Those who are not blinded by his ignorance and his lies is not speculative. He is straight up lying about Casper, and I'll showcase that as well in this stream. Those who are not blindly following that and actually are asking questions about it, that in itself would bring eyes to Casper and not actually look into it. He's got 174,000 followers. 1% of that is 1,700 people. Just 1% of his follower base looking into Casper would be huge for the project. Bitcoin maxis, the largest, biggest, oldest community, in retrospect, bringing their Bitcoin capital into Casper, converting would be a big thing. And again, it's the nature of change and convergence in regards to Mahatma Gandhi. They ignore you, they laugh you, they fight you, then they win, or then you win. You can see here, so the points he makes for me, again, it's about perspective and also just incorrect. The first one here about Casper's being junk. 1 year ago, Casper was at 16 cents, now it's at 9 cents. 1 year ago, Bitcoin was at 57k, now it's at 117k. Fair point to make, you're right. Except, let's do this a different way. Let's take a step backwards and look at the bigger picture. Bigger picture, look at Casper performance at original launch 4 years ago. Casper is 47,000% up from its launch 4 years ago. 4 years ago, Bitcoin was at all-time highs at 69k. So comparatively, in the 4 year time span, Casper has rallied in value 47,000%, Bitcoin's at 100%. So it's a matter of perspective. That is not a fair argument to make. And again, I still do believe that Casper will outperform Bitcoin this cycle. It technically already has in the grand scheme of things, but even in this bull cycle, this particular 1.5 year period to the end of 2025, potentially 2026, I still believe Casper's going to outperform Bitcoin. He also then makes the point about how if any project tried to compare itself to Bitcoin or measure itself against Bitcoin, then that is also what makes it a scam. So the fact that Casper and some maximalists are saying Casper is Bitcoin 2.0, that makes it a scam apparently, which again, more often than not, there's credibility behind that because you've got people like XRP and Ethereum who are saying that they're the next Bitcoin, which they are not. But Casper actually follows the original ethos of Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto. So if anything was going to be the next Bitcoin, it would be Casper. And the founder of Casper, Son Polinsky, is someone who has been a part of the early Bitcoin forums. There's literally video and resource evidence, sources that support the claim that Son Polinsky has been at the beginning of Bitcoin or near the early stages, talking about how to upgrade the protocol. You've got other posts here about him. This one, again, I think is a relatively fair point to make because I don't want to delve too much into it about some people in the Casper community are calling Son Polinsky Satoshi Nakamoto. There's rabbit hole conspiracy theories as to support that claim, but end of the day, that's not a talking point to latch onto. But him disputing that, fine, sure, whatever. The ones that are crazy for me is this one that I'll get into, this one, which is about how the Casper community relies on ambassadors to respond to people like him who hates Casper. They call themselves unpaid, but hard costs are covered. Even that's a lie. It's community funded. I could say I'm an ambassador myself. Like, it's a community thing. And then if you're not an ambassador, you're a bot, apparently. So again, it's all just noise. The ones that's crazy for me, though, the website's absolute trash. ChatGPT can make something better in 10 minutes. Sure, the website is what it is. This, for me, one I think is the most ridiculous one. Actually, no, tell a lie. This one is the most ridiculous one, but this one also is quite crazy. The biggest voice in the Casper Twitterverse isn't official. It's Casper Enthusiast with 21,000 fans. Now, because of that, and Casper having a $2.3 billion market cap, that's suspicious. Shout out to Casper Enthusiast, he's a big part of Casper, and I love his work. But the biggest account, the biggest voice, arguably, yes, it is Enthusiast, but the biggest account is the Casper unofficial official Twitter page, which has 250,000 followers, which does therefore add up more so to its market cap. Point being is, if your perception of why Casper is such a big market cap is purely on just that alone, it doesn't make sense for me. But the one that's crazy for me is this one here. All Caspians and non-Caspians should 100% convince that Casper's founder, Son Polinsky, is Bitcoin's. Again, that's a comment you can make. I don't particularly want to delve into that rabbit hole. I like the joke about it, or I like the theory about it, but I'm not going to delve into it or take it with too much seriousness, in personal honesty. But Fred Krueger responds to this saying, we brag about 1 second blocks, but if you can't run a node at home, it's not your network anymore. This, for me, is crazy. With Google and AI at your fingertips, 2 clicks in the world we currently live in, how can some person like Fred still be so ignorant and misinformed about Casper? For one, it's been 3 months now since we've been on 10 blocks per second, so we're not even 1 anymore, we're 10. And for 2, and I don't know this personally, but I speak to you a lot frequently here, you can mine Casper on decade-old hardware. I've seen clips and sources of people who have been using 2012 MacBooks and iMacs to mine Casper nodes, or run Casper nodes. And equally, and I'm sure you guys can attest to it, you can spend $300 to get the equipment, the hardware, to mine Casper. $300. You can home mine it. People are home mining it right now. You watching, most of you, or some of you, you are home mining it, or you've turned it off right now because it's not very profitable, but you have partaked in mining it at home. So that is grossly incorrect. And unfortunately, it does lead me to believe that he's just engagement farming for one, but also statements like that is what would make me distrust Fred. Because whenever I talk about another project, which I do occasionally in this channel, and I do plan to do a lot more starting this week as well, and I'm sorry Kryptoni, but I will. Whenever I do research into it, and if I get proven wrong, I apologize and I go on from there, but I research into it. I don't just say something because I feel like it. I don't do trust me bros. I want to know what I'm talking about, and I want to build a community who actually trusts the source that I provide. This is evidence he doesn't talk. I don't think he knows crypto. I don't think he knows Bitcoin, like he claims to. I think he got in early, like Da Vinci Jeremy did, and he's made a big following off that alone. But there's no way you can understand a lot about crypto or project or anything like that if you can't simply do Twitter or Google for 2 clicks to support your claims. Like, that is ridiculous. Chad here made a post about it, just talking about, again, kind of just addressing the whole FUD element rubbish here. The irony about the fact that Casper is also community funded like Bitcoin was, but went a different approach pretty much, which is why its adoption happened a lot faster, outpacing Bitcoin's and many other top 10s over the past 3.5 years. All organic done, fantastic done. And how Casper is kind of the evolution in a sense, but doing it in a different way. And Casper also is the fastest project in history to reach a $1 billion market cap, which actually Christian Lubbock makes a video about that here, so listen very closely and you hear for yourself.
Up into my head, thought being, is Kaspa the fastest growing asset to go from 0 to a $1 billion market cap? I started with a Google search. Google came up with the asset that reached $1 billion valuation. Fastest from 0 is Bitcoin. And it noted that there are a few companies that you can count on one hand that achieve this mark faster, but those are companies and those are not assets, and they raise money in order to achieve this. So set to reach a $1 billion market cap, and it came back with Bitcoin. So I said, what about Kaspa? And it said Kaspa reached a $1 billion market cap faster than Bitcoin, achieving this milestone in approximately 2 years and 2 months from its launch. And thus, Kaspa appears to be the fastest asset to reach a $1 billion market cap based on.
Now, I did again show you the whole video in the video that I made earlier today. Just to simply break that down, he does a Google search asking the asset that's grown to $1 billion market cap the fastest, which it highlights Bitcoin, and he also asks Grok about the same question, and it also highlights Bitcoin. But it wasn't until Christian Lubbock fact-checked Grok and asked what about Casper did it then fix its original statement and actually, no, you're right, it is Casper that's the fastest growing asset. So right now, Casper's growth has outpaced Bitcoin, and that's due to its emission schedules and its nature of how it's done its development and its trajectory and its work. Now, as he highlights here, history doesn't usually repeat itself, it often rhymes. His way of saying that is Casper's not necessarily going to, repeat Bitcoin, therefore taking 17 years to reach the market it has done, but it will follow a similar pattern, to the point therefore being that Casper will likely go through a rapid evolution and adoption and whatnot. It's quicker than Bitcoin does as well. It follows a similar pattern. And Bitcoiner AJ, someone who was a Bitcoin maxi who is now holding some Casper as well, for educational purposes, on August 18th, so earlier today, he sent Bitcoin to his account at 11 a.m., 11:50 a.m., and it took about half an hour. Actually, it took 38 minutes. 38 minutes to send Bitcoin from his account. 2 days earlier, August 16th, he sent Casper to his account, and it took less than a minute. Less than a minute. Are you moving money at internet speed or anything slower than internet speed? Proof is right here. Proof is right here. Also worth a note, he sent a lot more Casper as well as opposed to Bitcoin. He sent $800 worth of Casper as opposed to $200 worth of Bitcoin. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is literally there why Casper is faster than Bitcoin. I'm not saying Casper is going to take over Bitcoin. Some might believe that, some will say that. I'm not saying that. I'm simply highlighting that there is evidence that Casper is better than Bitcoin in regards to transaction speed, while sticking true to centralization purposes. So when you have people who are claiming that Casper is stupid and has no utility and no adoption, and it's incorrect. Factually, physically incorrect. It's just baseless FUD to support a sentiment, a claim, a vendetta, someone who got into Bitcoin early. And again, we're in that final stage, that penultimate stage now, where they ignore you, they laugh at you, they're hating on us. This eventually will transition into Casper winning, to us winning, and the Bitcoin maxi is coming into Casper, setting the price a hell of a lot higher. And for me, that catalyst could potentially be smart contracts. Again, not far off now. I'm not guaranteeing it'll be Casplex, it may be Igra, it may even be Sparkle. But we are, months away, weeks away from smart contracts coming on Casper. And the Bitcoin message who are converting or even just interested about Casper now, if they test out these smart contracts and everything's all well and good, that might incentivize them to want to use Casper more than the Bitcoin and transfer more of the allocation into Casper holdings, using it to store value, immediate exchange, and a unit of account. Worse still, and crazier still, there's even some maximalists who are now trying to convert Casper to the new XRP, which I think is grossly incorrect. You know, you guys know me. I hold Casper. I hold XRP, and I think they both have their perks. I think Casper's much stronger, higher ROI, but XRP has its benefits from its partnerships and whatnot, and being a long-lasting asset like Bitcoin in that regard. But I understand that XRP is highly centralized, therefore, in that regard, a lot less safe. Comparing a decentralized proof of work to a centralized proof of stake makes no sense. But that's a maxi mentality. Once more, there's another way of they're fighting us, blocking us, spreading misinformation. They're fighting us right now to quiet us, but we won't be silenced because we have the facts to support our statements. And the interest for Google, the Google search interest in Casper is now starting to go to the highest levels ever. It's rising higher and higher, which is also a very big sentiment that Casper's adoption is going to be coming back very, very quickly, and a bull run is about to break out. We're seeing big accounts with 500,000 followers, and it's not the first time we've seen this, but it's happening now. Starting to build more momentum again, who are talking about whales who are quietly accumulating Casper. Just like their Casper the Ghost are doing it very quietly in the shadows, and that's why we're going to be the silence and reveal everything we need to know about Casper. Now, we know that all here anyways. It's already been posted in my Discord community. Shout out to, just getting the name up, to Nee once more for the information there. But yeah, you're seeing big accounts now talking more and more about Casper, which is reassuring and will help in bringing more adoption to the project as well. And then we got what the big catalyst will likely be for me is all these smart contract updates. Casplex, again, they're having an AMA, I think today or very soon at least, an AMA in the Chinese space, and it'll eventually be translated to for reading purposes for us as well. But we got some smart contract updates for Igra Labs, and equally from Sparkle as well, which is very interesting as well. Shout out to Joker for putting this in the community as well. So Igra Labs made a post here about, this is also, by the way, I made a video again just on that, so you can find it in the video as well. But the internal rollout is live, 9 full Igra nodes across Europe, proving layer 2 history from Genesis. Now, great stuff, seeing this transparency. They do highlight there was actually an issue, a bug of sorts that did cause an issue, which resulted in re-injected transactions missing the next block, which is not ideal at all. However, and as Tony mentioned in the Casper channel, which I completely agree with him, these issues, these bugs are actually a good thing. If anything, it's not bad news, it's a good news. Because if you don't have any bugs when you're testing out, that does not guarantee that your platform is perfect. It may mean they didn't do their job properly. Now, you may get away with not having any bugs, but if you find a bug, it means that you can, squash the bug, fix the bug, and everything hopefully then gets, more trustworthy and better for when it is fully released. So, and sometimes, and Tony said sometimes when he's doing his code, he will intentionally leave an error in the code to prove that the tester is actually doing their job properly, so they can find that bug. So it's good that they found a bug and they're fixing it. And again, there's a lot more coming out in regards to Igra as well. They mentioned here Dennis, who is one of the ex-Igra Labs members, who's now working with Igra, replied to Pavel here, who's one of the co-founders of Igra Labs as well. Second PR to ETH from Igra Labs, critical for true sub-second finality support. So if they can achieve this, they get true sub-second finality support, which is a very, very big deal. Block DAG reorgs within 1 to 2 second spans are routine. Correctly mapping these to a deterministic EVM sequence is not trivial. Without them, base rollup breaks under real block DAG conditions. So they've kind of identified what's happened here and they're trying to find a solution right now. And Dennis highlights here that, we love what we're doing right now. If we were to keep our promises to contribute to a wider ecosystem for crypto, it refers to KRP15, which is necessary for smart contracts. And then the ATAN to Casper, ETAN, and now they got the EVM world with our ETH. They're going to get involved into Ethereum, the biggest ecosystem, which is very, very big, bringing those tools to Casper. And that's only just the beginning. You've got the whole VPROGs, the smart contracts on Polinsky and Microsoft are working on for Casper, which apparently Igra are going to be working and contributing a lot to the development of that as well, which is fantastic to hear. So DAG Labs coming full force once again, basically. And Igra posted here that VPROG backbone model might look like an arcane chart today, but it's a paradigm shift. So imagine Ethereum, where all layer 2s interoperate with each other and compose instantly. And Igra have actually built their architecture from day one around VPROG compatibility. So when Igra Labs comes out with their smart contracts, it should be completely, compatible with VPROGs once they are released, which means that there will be an even more seamless transaction and integration process when it happens, which would be great for Igra. So making this mainnet sound even more appealing for us as well, I'm sure. Microsoft made a post about a day ago talking about this breakdown on the notorious VPROG proposal, which I will leave a link to this in my community as well, my Discord server. If you want to find out more, I highly recommend, if not the VIP, definitely check out the free community here. We are very active in there. Well, normally very active in there. This weekend, not so much, but we are very, very active in there. You can find out a lot of information about everything I talk about in these streams in general. Anything from Casper to any crypto sources, we post in that community. So have a look around, find out more. You can see everything from even trade property making there. We do some trades in there as well, particularly in the VIP. You want to find that stuff out. Links to join the free community is here on my homepage, also down in the description as well. Highly recommend doing that. But yeah, you can see all the stuff we're talking about here, and I'll leave a link to this post in that community as well, in the daily information channels as well. It's a big, big deal what's coming. What's coming to the stage, what we're about to see coming through is going to be very, very innovative to Casper. And again, these paradigm shift. And equally then, talk about smart contracts still, we have finally got an update from Crypto Axbat regarding Project Sparkle. He's been away and down-clocked his social media and social presence, preventing him from doing any real work. He's still away for a while, and in the coming weeks, he'll need to pay attention to the network given the upcoming Casper launch of the EVM. So right now, Aspect's saying that he's not been too present recently, but he's going to be paying a very, very close attention to the Casper community with the launch of Casper smart contracts. So it also be used as a kind of a foundational layer so he can help develop his own stuff as well. With Sparkle, yes, we are still working on it, but we have turned the project into a much more research and development centric project. We're not in a rush and currently don't expect any updates until perhaps Q1, Q2 2026 to be determined still. I really am not a fan of talking about something that is not yet tangible and prefer to have solutions speak for themselves. So I'll refocus on that when I feel the need there are substantial cumulative gains that we can then share. The only thing that I'll say is that it is an extremely complicated project, and so far I'm extremely lucky to have the privilege of working with some of the brightest people I have met. Now, for some people that can be a very bad update, I think it's a perfectly fine and good update, and anything given more transparency, highlighting that what they're trying to do. Again, we have to understand, it's frustrating, yes, it's taken a while, but these people, these geniuses who are working on stuff, they are not following a blueprint or a plan. If Bitcoin flew to the moon, if Bitcoin metaphorically flew to the moon, your XRPs and your Solanas and your everything else, if Bitcoin flew to the moon and Ethereum then flew in a different shuttle, every other project is kind of following that. Casper is building a completely new shuttle to fly to Mars. Casper's not following the same blueprint as everything else. It's doing it completely new. At least it was following Bitcoin, but now it's developing the Dagnite, the VProgs, and these other form of smart contracts that are completely new. Is not an easy thing to do. I could never do it. Hell, I sometimes even understand what they're talking about. So it's very, very tough, but they do believe they'll have some updates in the coming months. You know, Q1, Q2 2026, that's like kind of May time 2026. So still a while off, but it's good to know that they're taking their time with that. And I think it's a better thing to do as well. And I agree. I prefer, instead of them spreading FOMO and hype about Sparkle plans to do this and this, let them actually develop some core-centric infrastructure and ideas and then provide that to the community. So we actually know what's coming through. So yeah, take their time. I think the very smart approach. And again, I'm in for Casper to make gains. We all are. But this is also what increased my conviction in Casper. It's not your proof of stake projects. I mean, again, if you have a lot of fun, you can do stuff easier as well, I'm sure. But when things get pushed out so quickly, it can be worrying. Where are the issues? Think about Casplex KRC20, not to completely dog on KRC20 and Casplex, but their first launch was like a month process. They launched it and it was a complete failure, and they relaunched it again a month afterwards, and it was a lot better. Still problems, but it was a lot better. Slow and steady wins the race. I know it's a child book about tortoise and a hare, but it is actually a testament to life. Slow and steady wins the race. I prefer Crypto Aspect and the Project Sparkle takes a year to come out and it be perfect and be that literal innovative next step for crypto that no project can ever replicate or compete with, as opposed to it being a half-assed thing that ends up having issues and bugs, and it ruins Casper's credibility and, you know, public vision even more than it already is. Which I think is only bad because the price action, not because of development. So smart contract updates are coming through thick and fast. We're seeing a lot of stuff coming through. Igra seemingly going to be going for their public testnet now in the next 2 weeks or so. They're meant to be doing it soon, but I think after this bug, they're giving it another bit of time before they do it public. I'd imagine therefore the mainnet will be coming out sometime mid to end Q4, maybe the November, December time. We're now seeing some more development from VProg that I'll be putting in the community as well. And Sparkle updates as well. Also stuff very, very cool. And we're seeing more development from the Casper ecosystem once again. Alex here with this AI-centric thing he's building right now. The integration of Casper into castunder.com is not yet complete, but we are nearing the finish line, bringing the same user experience we have for captivity tokens to Casper and displaying connections between all existing Casper addresses. So this is, you know, if you look at, I'm not sure if any of you have used BullX. I think they've changed the name to BullX.io or something like that now. There's a website called BullX. Let's see if I can load it up. I used to use it a while back. I've used it in a very, very long time. Okay, you can see it here. Let me quickly load up the chart. Although it might be a bit dodgy now because I think they've got a new terminal now, so therefore it doesn't really work properly. Yeah, okay, not really going to show up, yeah. But there's a website here called BullX. They've changed the website now. So I haven't updated it myself, so I can't show the proper stuff here. But basically what you'd see here is a chart, and you then have the opportunity to see the bubble map here as well. So you can see the bubble map, so you can see what wallets... basically what he's doing here is a bubble map. It's like a very, very small feature, but it's a very big thing. So you can see who's holding what. So you can the size of the bubble indicates how much they're holding of the project, and then it also will connect the wallets together. So you can see, in this instance here, these are a lot of big wallets here, big circles, but all of them actually are connected. So this is actually these yellow dots here are all one person, which gives you a bigger idea about the decentralized nature of that project, that KRC20 project. So it's another, again, quality of life thing, but a very, very big thing. That's what Alex is trying to build right now. He's building a lot of stuff for Casper right now, and AI stuff, AI agent stuff, building some form of ChatGPT for Casper as well, and then he's building this as well, displaying connections between all Casper addresses, and it has been a significantly technical challenge, but you have people like this individual here, who apparently has been a very, very big part helping this happen. So shout out to that, more building to Casper. Again, quality of life stuff, but very, very important stuff. You got this thing I've not heard too much about, this Casper NFC point of sale. Hopefully hear more about that in the near future as well. You've got how it works here as well. Again, information will be left below in the description. Not in the description, in my free Discord. If you want to find out information from these streams and even a lot more stuff, definitely check out the free community. The VIP is something else you can check out later on. The free community, I couldn't recommend it more. You find out a lot more stuff in there. And there's no harm with your back Discord account, free community, just come and join. Be wary of people impersonating me, trying to say, I will never message you on Discord. If you see an account with my name, it's not me. If someone tries to add you or send you a message from it's my account, it's not me. I will never add you or send you a message first. But definitely check out the free community. You can learn a lot more in there. And you could be part of a space of like-minded individuals who are trying to learn more about crypto and Casper. You can ask questions in there. We are not going to bite, most of us. Cassia, sneak peek into what's coming through. A dark mode, a light mode, and UI changes as well. Very, very cool stuff here. And equally got some KEF updates here as well. A chance to community fund for this event, where you can donate here to KEF, considering to be a title sponsor for the on-chain synopsism, where believe meaningful connection with crypto.com and Tether. So, which are co-hosts, so we can attempt for a listing integration. So basically, if we can, they're kind of putting forward a potential community funding request here, KEF. Again, it's up to you if you want to contribute to that or not, but it may put us in Casper in some meaningful connections to crypto.com and USDT as well. And, also help Casper reach the local Korean local community, with its plus assist with our listing talks with Upbit Global, another very, very notable exchange. So you've got crypto.com potential. So basically, this proposal that KEF are talking about right now, again, you donate at your own discretion. Apparently, according to the KEF, will put us in contact and better connections to the likes of crypto.com, which is down here. 4.8 billion, 24-hour trading volume, and just 845,000 weekly visits. And then Upbit, that's not Upbit. Upbit here, 3.1 million, 3.1 billion, 24-hour trading volume, and 1.8 million weekly visits. So two very, very big exchanges, top 10 in their own regards. So it could be a very, very big thing. The title sponsorship cost would be 50k. If we are not meeting the objective in 124 hours, all funds will be returned. So they're just saying this was posted earlier today, or edited earlier today. So it's about 6 hours from now. 120 hours from now, of course, is about 5 days or so, 6 days. So basically giving you more or less a week, giving you a week or so, or a little under a week to community fund this address here. Again, not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you to do anything at all. I'm not a financial advisor. You do your own research. You trade and invest at your own discretion. But if I don't personally distrust KEF. There's a lot of FUD around them right now, but I think because capital price is so far down, people are just throwing hate wherever they can do. I've seen some posts from Shy about how apparently, but we know Shy has his own hate of KEF and Johnny, or particularly Johnny. I don't think Shy hates the KEF. He just doesn't like Johnny, and he thinks Johnny being at the helm of KEF is a problem. But that as it may, saying 50k to donate to this will put Casper in a great spot with Tether, Crypto.com, and Upbit as well, which would be a very big deal. So again, I'll link this in my community as well. You can check it out there. And speaking of KEF, they're also going to be heading to London very, very soon, December 2nd and 3rd, for a rare opportunity to hear the latest perspective of Casper's growth and the future of proof of work innovation. At this point, Casplex may not be out for quite some time, so I'm sure they'll talk about that there as well. Going to be a gold sponsor at Tokenized London as well. I might attend if I can do as well. They've got a mystery guest alert, surprise speakers. That'll be people who people love as well, which is very, very cool. I can only pay at someone like Hans or Son Polinsky or Sutton or Aspect, one of the key people, if you will. Great stuff around. I think the KF are trying to do a lot more to raise more awareness about Casper as well. Look, hashtag may join. So that'd be huge. That'd be very, very huge. So I'll hopefully try and be there myself, honestly. We'll see what happens. And then this is the final post here I want to get into here. Shout out to Blaze for this document about Uphold. I'm not going to share or talk about too much right now because I haven't answered any questions right now. We're now approaching the hour mark now, but I will be posting this again in my community. If you want to find out information, again, check out the free community there. And this is the Uphold document from end of last year, talking about why they believe in Casper. And I'm sure their Casper 2.0 post, their document that I'll be posting at some point, I'm sure, released to the public at some point, will be equally as informative, if not more so, about why they believe in Casper as the next big thing. You're 100% right. It's not Casper, it's alts. Yes, I know. I'm sure I missed a hell of a lot of questions, so I apologize for all the rambling, but I want to get through all that stuff there just to, again, give you your alpha, your incentives, your information about what's coming, potential lessons and whatnot, all the stuff looking very, very good. But yeah, I do think, yeah, it's not Casper doing badly, it's the alts. All alts are struggling. Just checking in here to make sure my asset liquidity is still intact. No one's sold yet, brother, don't worry. There's not much profit to take. True, very, very true. What's up, caller, bro? You're doing very, very well, man. Even if you hit the 10x from under a penny, Bitcoin did the same. Yeah, Casper has a lot of upside. Look about stun timer, bro. You're doing very, very well, brother. We cannot even break above 10 cents. It's because of the macro sentiment. It's very, very frustrating, but it's the macro sentiment. Like we touched above 10 cents on 2 occasions, but we couldn't break above it because on that day, on the what day was it exactly? It was the 14th of August. 14th of August. What happened to that? That was the PMI data, I'm pretty sure, right? 14th of August. Apply settings. Yeah, that's why. Bitcoin on the 14th of August was about to make a new all-time high. In fact, it did. It made an all-time high. Ethereum was about to make a new all-time high. Casper was about to pass 10 cents. And the PPI inflation report came out, and it scared investors. So Casper struggled. It's not because Casper's doing badly, it's because the macro's weighing in on the market. But it's sad. It's not because of being a bad coin, as you're highlighting, it's because the macro's weighing in on the market. Everything is down. Waiting for my Casper KS7 Lite ASIC in the post-in-time for smart contracts. I pray it comes in time, brother, and I hope you can stack up and get to mining. Look, ETH Chainlink low caps have all have more than 50% plus. I mean, ETH is not a low. ETH is a second biggest asset in the space and has ETFs. You know, so again, I can easily talk about this. I'm not going to go into too much about it because I don't want to be honest. But it's a matter of perspective. Bitcoin's done fantastic. ETH's done fantastic because they have ETFs. Now, Chainlink. If I look at Chainlink right now. Chainlink right now is at 17 billion market cap. It's currently doing very, very well. And if you look in the last year as well, equally is up about 2x. So yeah, Chainlink's done very, very well in that regard. But every project has their own rally. You know, Chainlink's currently at 70 bill market cap. It peaked up here at 21 bill. So how high is Chainlink going to go from here? Chainlink will get ETFs as well. So Chainlink's going to do very, very well. But not all low caps have more than 50%. I can literally handpick all these ones here that are very notable. You know, Sui, from its all-time high, is down 32%. Say is not a big asset, but Say is one that people talk about quite a lot, and that's down. I don't even need to draw that out. That's massive. You can see how much that's down. Tau, a massive notable, one of the biggest AI projects, down about 50% from all-time highs. Your H-bars and Algorand, these massive projects that people talk about quite a lot, equally down massively from their local highs, not to mention all-time highs. H-bar actually is one of the better ones, but even then it's still down about 40%. So again, brother, I understand your sentiment of not liking Casper, and if you sold it or which you say you have done, go for it. Go for it. Again, I really do not care what you end up doing. I don't care what anybody does. I'm not a financial advisor. I just believe in Casper, but it is a matter of perspective in how you're going to compare a project. You can compare it to Chainlink and Ethereum, which are notably much bigger assets. They are not even small at all. If you look at the big assets in this space, you've got your Bitcoin and Ethereum, you've got Chainlink in the, number 11, Cardano's up there, Tron, Doge, Solana. Solana right now, if I look at Solana, it's also up this year, to no surprise. 25% this year, but it's still up, no surprise there. Because it's a big, there's categories in this crypto space. You've got Bitcoin, number 1. Then you've got the blue chips, which is the top 10. Ethereum, XRP, you can ignore stable coins. Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Doge, TRX, Cardano, Chainlink, Hyperliquid, Stellar, like these big ones. And then you go into the mid caps. Anything that's below a 10 bill market cap pretty much is kind of perceived as a mid cap. Your Litecoins, your Tong coins, your Shiba, your DOTs, and Casper's all the way down here. And Casper comparatively in the year, is down. Well, in the year, I'll just load it up here actually. Casper in the year is down what? 50%, something like that. As I load it up here on CMC, yeah, 50%. But it's not the only one. But again, like, if you sold Casper, that's fine. I really doesn't bother me, not in the slightest. So, will it hit €100 while Casper will hang on that 10 cents? I mean, or 8 cents. I mean, Chainlink is in at $25 right now. I'm not sure the conversion of dollar to euro is on top of my head, so I can't attest to that. But I mean, Chainlink will probably end up rallying higher. Now, will it make a, as you're kind of highlighting here, a 4x from here? Maybe. If you're talking about dollars exactly, maybe it will. But Casper could potentially 4x from now would be a 36 cents, which is not a lot at all. I don't really know what more to say to it. It's a matter of perspective. Casper's had a very, very long haul struggle. I'm not ignorant to that. I've never said Casper. I've never been blind to that. I've always accepted that Casper's not done very well price action wise, but I also provided comparative sources and other stuff as well to support claims and also dispute claims. We've just showcased that Chainlink's done better and Ethereum's done better, but Ethereum also is not a mid cap. It's the second biggest altcoin. Second biggest crypto is the biggest altcoin. 4 months to the end of this year, people keep saying $1 Casper 24, said no one cares about tech. Yeah, pretty much. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. End of the day, again, this space can change very, very quickly. We have seen how quickly assets can rally in value. I'm not saying it's going to reach $1 by the end of the year, but I'm highlighting again that we have seen how quickly assets can jump leaps and bounds. AVAX went from a 1.5 to a $30 billion market cap in the last 4 months of its bull cycle. Over a 15x. That's ridiculous. In literally 4 months. So if that's the case for Casper, it could equally go above $1 in that. That's comparatively, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's trying to highlight and indicate once more that projects can make a very, very quick rally when people least expect it. And smart contracts alongside potential listings and, with Upbit, with Crypto.com, with Binance, these could be catalysts for it. But it's ultimately a waiting game. That's the frustration part, Crypto is not about tech. If you will tech invest in companies. I mean, if you want tech invest in companies, sure. But I don't really know. I do know what to say to it, but I sound like a broken record when I say it. We're not in a hype cycle anymore. Actually, the statement about crypto is not about tech is actually, with respect, an ignorant one. Because if you looked at the research documents from institutions, they're talking about adopting crypto because of its tech. So, by logic, unfortunately, that statement is incorrect. Because crypto is about tech. BlackRock wants Bitcoin. BlackRock wants to build on Ethereum because of crypto tech being better than TradFi tech. Crypto is about tech. Now, the best tech, in our belief, is Casper. It has not got the adoption right now, but that can easily change, given time. We are literally going through a maturing stage of the cycle right now. We're not in a hype cycle anymore. We're going to a cycle for the utility and use case, which Casper has abundance of that. So, unfortunately, the statement in that is just wrong. But again, I guess you wouldn't know so much because you're not seeing the information that we are seeing, like I provided my VIPs, which support the claim that it is now all about tech. That's all they're talking about. They want crypto, they want this Gen AI stuff because of the tech and how things will become a lot easier with it. Literally got videos like this here. So I'm just going to show a little snippet of that right here. This is from Franklin Templeton, $1.5 trillion asset under management, which is talking in this interview, this podcast, this panel about a massive relocation of all the money coming onto chain. So it is about tech. They wanted to bring it over because it's about tech. They literally talk about that here. But again, I guess, you wouldn't know because you're not part of the VIP. And also, I guess you're not doing your own research. Huge long capital triangle coming to an end by the end of August. I mean, I hope so. That would be I can kind of see what you're talking about. Yeah, I do hope that it does come to an end soon, because I think we'll see that pump come very, very soon. I want the FOMO. You always get the FOMO, you know. Yeah, of course you want the FOMO. I'm giving you the FOMO right now. We know what's coming. People are literally interested in Chainlink because of its tech. I mean, yeah. Exchanges will list Casper because they will have to. Well, no exchange will list Casper because they have to pay for this Casper, so there'll be no FOMO. You do realise that Kraken listed Casper with no money, right? So again, that statement is incorrect, because Kraken has listed Casper with not being paid for it. They did it for free, and most other exchanges have listed Casper for free as well. So again, people are interested in ETH because of its tech. Yeah, pretty much. Literally incorrect, but again, it's what it is. True. We will. Tech is all what matters in the day. Tech lives past hype and FOMO. I completely agree. I don't believe Casper is going anywhere this year. I mean, I hope it does, Lieutenant. I think it still will. But again, sentiments will be... It's a matter of perspective, right? Most people right now are tired of Casper's price action. They don't think it'll do anything anymore. I'm still optimistic it will do. In the really, really, in my belief, off chance and work it doesn't do anything, I'm still not going to be too worried personally. But at the same time, I still have almost conviction it's going to do very, very well. Like I actually have such a little doubt it's not going to do anything this cycle, really. But yeah, I mean, again, people are blaming Maxi. Maxi, I admit, I think is a valid one. KEF, I mean, again, at this point, I don't know if I blame KEF or not. I've seen a lot of FUD about them. I don't have a real opinion on it because I've not got... It's speculative, end of the day, right? Maxi, there's proof of which. KEF, there's not... I haven't seen enough proof to prove KEF are harming Casper. Of course, the KYC 20s was part of them, you know, because of Casplex, and that was an issue, but I don't think... End of the day, right, Casper's down in value. And I accept that, we all see that, so people are understandably frustrated with that and finding something or someone to blame. I'm not saying you're wrong, Lieutenant, at all. But then you might be completely right. You might know more than I do. But at the end of the day, we don't know. And I still think, again, Casper's just biding its time. Well, congratulations, bro. Again, I do not have a worry at all about who or what you invest into. If you sold your Casper for Chainlink and now you're up 2x in 1 week, fantastic. I'm happy for you. And I hope you continue making gains. But here the difference is that I'm not going to hear FUD, I'm going to be hearing throwing FUD about Chainlink. Like, Casper's down is what it is. What good is it about spreading FUD about a project? If it's necessary to spread FUD about it, if the project's scamming, then yeah, spread FUD about it. But otherwise, what benefit is to get for it? I don't put down any other project in this space unless I have a reason to do so. Casper's done not as good as Chainlink in the last 2 weeks, fantastic, but you've made gains from it. End of the day, we're all here to make gains. And in my belief, and a lot of our beliefs here, Casper's still going to make people those gains. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Welcome back, T. People, you did very, very well. Simon the Gator, not sure what that is. I'm guessing that's a meme coin of sorts. I'll have a quick look at it. Simon the Gator. Yep, here it is. 1.9 mil market cap. Never heard of it in my life. Again, memes very, very risky, especially if you want to be very, very careful. Currently up about 30% on the day and looks from things. Yep, that's, you know, launched like a beginning, launched a few days ago. It's done very, very well. Maybe make more gains from here. Again, tough to say. Tough to say. It's on Uniswap right now. That's Simon the Gator right there. I sold end of July that and bought Chainlink. I mean, yeah, good for you. Again, it's fine. Like, congrats, bro. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I personally think it won't, but who knows? Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I'm actually confused why you're so angry, brother. I'm not showing any form of hostility towards you. I'm here trying to spread information and sources. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to be here. I don't see the need for it. I mean, I never really get into internet beef. I don't see the point for it. I have FUD. I have people who hate me all the time. I get it. I'm part of this space. I get the hate. It's what you get for being a content creator. If you don't like something, you don't have to be here. You know, I welcome everybody, and I'm hoping that everybody makes gains, whether you like or hate Casper. But when you're getting personal, I don't see the point in that. You know, 4 years ago, but Casper 4 years ago was zero, right? Yeah, but Casper's also up massively as well. Casper is still the fastest growing asset in this space. You know, it's the fastest asset to go to 1 billion market cap. It's had a very, very tough year, and it is what it is. I think I'm getting too invested into this conversation right now. Mimunya, not yet, Wing Hong. In due time, though. Yeah, that's a real question, you know. If Christian just found this out, don't you think big money with their think tanks already knew this? I mean, people know of Casper. Again, this is also proof of that. Marathon are mining Casper. You know, it's not some small company. It's the biggest Bitcoin mining company who is now mining Casper, and they're shareholder of BlackRock. Casper's price being down is a consequence of anything and everything that's gone down. Let's think of Tesla. Tesla's been down massively for ages. After the whole, rubbish with Elon Musk and Trump and whatnot, it's been down for a while. Tesla's not done the greatest this year. But Tesla also is something that I think will do very well later on as well. Like, tech does matter. The reason why the projects in the top 10 are so good as crypto and highlight is because they're tech. They provide a service, utility, use case that is institutions will take advantage of. Casper is a 4-year-old project with no or lackluster marketing. It's purely organic. Bitcoin is currently where it's at after 17 years. And even then, it took a long time for it to reach a 1 bill market cap. Casper did it quicker. Yeah, pretty much. Precisely. I don't care if I'm feeling something that people who invested in Bitcoin at the beginning before the hype and vision, that has a real utility. Yeah. Some people get into a project for hype. Some people in Casper want to make gains, and that's fine. We're all here to make gains, but some people are in for this just to make a quick pump and a dump, forgetting. Well, the problem is, again, this space has warped, right? A lot of people who've gone to crypto, because they were, kind of promised this whole get rich quick scheme or stuff, because that's what crypto became, a pump and dump hype cycle. That's what crypto became. That's changing. And if you don't see it's changing, you need to do more research. Because it's changing quickly. Tech matters. Tech is literally what matters. When this crypto cunning happens, if you are a hype project, you're going to zero. That's not speculation. That's what institutional documents and institutions have been saying. They're saying if you, we want to go into real tech, build this stuff on these certain platforms and whatnot, and we're going, and this space is oversaturated with rubbish, with absolute rubbish projects. They will go to zero. And what it is, what they are and what they are, we don't know. But there'll be a lot that goes to zero, and for me, Casper won't be one of those, because Casper is reinventing the wheel. We need to have the XP mommy mindset. I prefer we didn't. The mindset they have is, it's not even like conviction, it's delusion. Saying that XRP is going to go to $10,000. Like, market cap wise, it's physically impossible. It's not possible for that to happen. Are we financially problems? Casper is a proof of work, quantity tech currency. Pretty much, yeah. Like, Casper is proof that Casper's going to prove that tech matters. Quick crypto. Do you know about fast storage for Casper? I did make a stream about that recently, talking about that briefly, and I think someone replied to it. So about Casper fast storage, the YouTube Escape briefly touched up on it. I want to know what you think on it. I think I did speak about it not that long ago. What did I say? Where's the post? Oh, we posted that. Well, yeah, you can just see it there then. Because literally, if you go to my Twitter and you look at this video here, this is the institutional document where they're talking about the reallocation of money and about how tech matters. Where's that post? Here. I made a post about that here, yeah. So, yeah, effectively, this for me is a very, very big deal, because it's one thing when you've got Casper as trying to be this kind of fast peer-to-peer electronic currency for transactions and payments and whatnot. But this here is a proof that Casper can be more than just for payments. Also used as a decentralized space for storage of, so you can have true sovereignty of your information, not just your money. You know, it's more than just for transactions for peer-to-peer electronic money. A decentralized platform that can even offer complete security and sovereignty of information. That's game-changing. These are developments that should really excite you and strengthen your conviction on why you hold Casper. But because this is just, again, the beginning of what's going to come through. You know, and then it highlights here that the guy here basically implemented a function that kind of resolves a whole pruning feature, so you can still track back to find out where your storage, your information was saved, without there being any archival blocks needed. So this has great potential for global adoption. If people can actually get true sovereignty and protection of information, hidden from governments and, you know, oversight and whatnot, completely secured to you and your own, that's going to get... Think about a government, right? A government, something like the United States, who wants to protect some classified files about whatever military operation they're going on right now. They could have complete protection and security when doing it here. And it's physically impossible for anyone to get into it. So I think it's a very big deal. I might make a video on that later on as well, this week. I've got quite a few to catch up on this week. There's quite a few good talking points like this, for example, as well, which I think could be a thing to look into. Although, again, you can see, you know, people are still a bit skeptical about it because, you know, people right now are distrusting the KEF. I bet a lot on Casper, even the money from the sale of Motorcycle, to say how much Casper is important to me. Love to hear it, Double D, man. Welcome back, Cryptech Odie, who's doing very, very well. Guess what? Uphold takes more Casper. I'm sure that it will reveal something positive for Casper and negative for people to exploit the project. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Again, it's tough to say. I try not to make too much speculative comments anymore about Casper because I think speculation can equally be very damaging, whether it's good or bad speculation. I try to pretty much just say what the sources are suggesting and what could be coming through. I asked Grok if Binance will list Casper this year, and they said yes. I hope so. They should do. Yeah, 100%. More smart contracts are working for this, so yeah, I think that would be a good incentive for them. Did you see the attack from percent? It's extremely difficult to have it on Casper. Yeah, I did see that. I haven't spoken about it too much, but yeah, you know, regarding to the ASIC friendliness element they're talking about, you know, it's physically so much harder. Which actually, Kryptoni, shout out to you, Kryptoni. You made a fantastic generalization and post about it in the Casper channel about why it's so much harder for people to actually mine Casper as opposed to what it's done to a Monero with Cubic. So if you want to see that out again, Kryptoni, he's got a brain in him, you know, he's quite a smart guy. So you can see what he posted in the Casper channel 2 days ago. To join the free community again, free Discord server, links to join that are down below in the description and also right here as well. Guys, know nothing about crypto. Casper is about to see a new higher floor soon. I believe so as well, JNZ. Casper is generally a potential 30-35x at the end of the year with a bull run. I am not going to talk about price action, but I'm not going to confirm or deny, but I will say that if anything's possible. I'll say that much. You know, I think Casper is definitely undervalued and it's got so much potential. It seems that we have people here with intelligence, people who do not learn about from mantra. I mean, yeah, I'm not here to insult anybody. I don't personally understand the premise of why you would come into a place to fight a project and then throw personal insults. But I'm sure we'll see him again. I have now a growing list of names in my head of people who tune into the community, the channels and whatnot to throw hate. It's fine. End of the day, I say it time and time again. If you want to leave Casper, fine, go for it. I'm not here telling you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an internet funny man who runs research and talks about a project. If you leave Casper and make money elsewhere, fantastic stuff. I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. I want all of you to succeed. But throwing hate about a project because the price is doing bad and then making unnecessary claims and kind of grossly inaccurate statements, you're going to end up seeing some backlash about it, whether from me or from the community. I try to tone it down because, you know, I've got a professional act to keep up on, unless Mr. Masters in here, and then I joke about it a bit more because he likes to pull it out on me. But I mean, yeah, people will learn. People will learn either the hard way or the hard way. ETH reaching 1.5 trillion market cap, XRP 500 600 billion, maybe 800, BNB Solana 3,500. You guys think Casper will really stay at 2 to 5 or 10 billion? I mean, in that regard, then yes, Casper compatibility could do a lot if these projects do reach that high, but that's based on the fact they do reach that high. Will ETH reach 1.5 trillion? It's currently just above 500 billion, I think. So can I do a 3x from here? Who knows? I do think Casper will make some very big gains, but I'll have to wait and see. Again, we still got more time in the cycle. We're nowhere near the end just yet. And then a couple, could do a lot more as well, yeah. Your J ain't... I mean, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just want Casper to moon so I give my money to gorgeous ladies. Yeah, I know you're doing wrong. He knows we the sugar bus. Honestly, under 10 to 20 cents, people should say Casper, no lie. A lot of people do believe that, and I don't think it's a bad strategy, but again, that's not my financial advice. But yeah, it is a gift. I agree. Casper under 10 is a gift. Just be realistic. Casper will cross $1 bull run or no bull run. I mean, again, purely just to not give into FOMO or just to create false expectations, I'm not going to confirm price action. I say Casper could pass all-time highs of the cycle very comfortably, because that I don't think it's ridiculous to say. It's a 2x from here, and that for me is extremely undervalued. I think Casper could do the same this cycle. Will it pass $1? I think it's a possibility, but we have no confirmation of it. No one truly knows. But anything's possible, But yeah, I think people have turned into... my predictions I'm trying to withhold because I don't want to become this, I have people who've called me optimistic and bullish all the time, which I agree. But that's because I have the information to support my claims and why I believe that. I just don't want to be called a moon boy, so I try to keep my predictions under wraps. But I do think Casper's going to surprise people at the very least. And the reason why is because they see Casper as a threat. They've dealt with... They don't need to deal with proof of stakes, because they've dealt with them already with XRP and Ethereum. They don't need to deal with anything else because they can't compete. Or they're just proof of stakes, so they're just already lost. Casper's the only thing that actually threatens them as a proof of work. That's what they're talking about here. True. Definitely not first, but we'll go back to the stream of the multi. You're doing very, very well. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy to see. When you respond, he already left the stream by then. He comes in, talks up and leaves. Yeah, I'm sure he does. That's probably why I need to get back to, talking with the chat more frequently, and you lot more frequently as opposed to just doing all the content and then doing a Q&A at the end. But yeah. And luckily I don't need to say too much about it, because for one, he wouldn't listen to me anyways. For two, I know you lot were already replying the comments about him anyways, just debunking his claims. The fact that apparently everything's built on hype is just grossly inaccurate. But he will learn the hard way. Everyone does. I learned the last cycle as well. And, I got lucky to still make gains, but I had a lot of losses. That's why I took pride in finding information. That's, really how you make money. You've got to understand as well that institutions normally invest into your stocks and bonds or whatever that make them a kind of year-on-year return of maybe 30-40%, right? They're investing a lot of capital to make 34% gains. They get into BlackRock got into Bitcoin at around 30-40k. They're currently up 3x on that. That's insane. They're used to a 30-40% gain. They've made a 300% gain, 200% gain already. They see this as a candy store for how much gains they're going to make. So that's hype, yes, but they're also adopting it because they see it as... you've got from Trump to Swift to so many other notable fintech leaders and institutional leaders who are saying, blockchain, tech, we need to replace the incumbent old Swift system to streamline payments. It is literally about tech. It's not about hype anymore. Hype is what it was in the last cycle and what it was at the beginning of the cycle. When the meme bubble burst for Solana at the beginning of this year, that also indicated that it's shifting from hype into utility. Yeah, I know he's trolling, and I know I fell through it, but it also gives me something to speak about sometimes, I do entertain it at time to time, because those who watch on playback, they would actually probably like to see me talk about it on occasions and kind of hear my perspective of it. Because despite that, I believe that everything I say in rebuttal to it is still informative and still educational for people to understand my thought process. And again, providing sources like that, which is institutional documentation, and sources and proof about what's coming. Precisely. Some people are in here just to make quick gains, but some people are also here to change their life for the better, which is to leave the fiat system, the corrupt, centralized system, to have true sovereignty. I'm here for both. I'm going to make gains. I'll enjoy the gains I make, but I'm also here to use Casper as my future, mean of exchange, unit of account, and store of value. My new bank. Okay, for future reference, therefore, I will not respond to him. I'll let you guys do it for me instead. Thank you very much. Honestly. Because security becomes with smart contracts. Good question. If done incorrectly, then yes. But if done correctly, then it wouldn't be a problem. But in theory, I don't believe so. Welcome back, Wyatt Bro. You're doing very, very well. And had a great day so far. Yeah, the naysayers will be. It is what it is. Wing, stop. You have to have a girlfriend available. She is typing on this keyboard. And she never says no. I mean, soon enough, sure. If someone can do it, why not Casper? They got hacked multiple times. Yeah, Casper's not actually experienced like a hack. They've had some rug pulls and scams, but that happens to every project. And it's due to not doing it. But Casper's not being attacked properly. Casper survived one of the worst dust attacks it has, and it's not had anything since. Miners will like file storage, but node operators may not be able to keep up with the hardware upgrades. Node operators are not getting any reward from the storage. Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. It has benefits, but also some downsides. So we'll see how widely adopted it really is and how successful it is. I mean, yeah, there's loads of arguments and technicalities and stuff you can look into and make to support why Casper goes very, very well. And I don't disagree with any of the sentiments. End of the day, though, it's while it's informative and very helpful, we just don't know where Casper's going to go. Because it still needs for Casper to do really, really well this cycle for me, and I mean really, really well, I'm not saying what that really means with regard to price, but what it did really, really well. Smart contracts coming out, fine, great. Stablecoins also seemingly coming out, so fine, great. We do need some listings. We need some more listings. I do think we need that for it to do really, really well. I think we could do well regardless of we have right now. We could do well, but for it to do really well, you need some more listings. Your Binance, your Upbits, your Crypto.coms, your Coinbase, your OKX, one or all of them, or some of them. You need some. And then you might see some more adoption and whatnot, more projects launching on Casper, more bridging from ETH to Casper, whatever it may be. But the main ones for me is definitely smart contracts and stables. Those are the main ones that are going to happen, most definitely. And then listings are highly likely, but we just don't know yet. Jay, you're internet sexy, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. You need a better PC and another screen. Yeah, I've got two screens right now. I read the chat and everything else on the left, and then I've got my screen here on the right. I don't have enough desk space to get a third monitor, but maybe that makes things easier as well. Honestly. But with that being said, that was an hour and a half stream. Wow, you're also lucky I had that. Half an hour of comments to go through. I love you all. Thank you very much for your continual engagement and support. And again, our belief in Casper. We've gone through all this stuff. We know what's coming through. Bitcoin Max is converting. Adoption of Casper coming back more and more. Big accounts talking about Casper. Big developer smart contracts coming out. We are on the cusp of seeing a lot more big things come to Casper. We are 2 weeks, less than that now, from smart contracts. Market come back today is expected. Market come back this week also, in my belief, is expected. So they expect some more pullbacks. If you want to find out why, again, check out the VIP. Or still just join the free community. You can learn more on there anyways. Join for 7 days free or for a month free through BYDFI, our affiliate exchange. You can check out BYDFI for free. No KYC, no VPN. That being said, have a great day, good evening, and good night, family. Leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. They love volume. Yes, agreed. Smart contract with stablecoins could definitely bring in more adoption from tier ones as well. So we will hopefully see it this cycle. That being said, have a great day, good evening, good night, family. Check out the video on my channel as well if you want to tune in and hear more. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care now. I just hit 1.9 million yesterday. Sharks are accumulating too. Great stuff, Nate. Keep it up, brother. And keep stacking that bag. Saw you late, Buffalo, but yes, tune in for the watch playback.